The main thing they want you to believe is that the supernatural is not real. Why has that been so important for 80 years for you to convince me the supernatural is not real? The obvious answer is, well, because they sort of know they're working for supernatural forces, actually. And I think that's probably true. I talked to people who I thought had firsthand knowledge, and I talked to a number of them. And then I was like, whoa, I'm out. And the last couple of years I've been like, holy, they're the only people who know what's going on. So that's the conclusion I've reached. I'm usually pretty curious. I've stopped being curious about this because I don't want to know anymore. But I think I know. I think I know what's up. And only the Bible readers are prepared to understand it.
Tucker Carlson steps into the Sean Ryan show to expose some disturbing truths. Known for his credibility and direct access to influential figures, Tucker has conducted interviews with top-tier personalities, including the president of Russia. He hints at having uncovered a very frightening reality through these high-level interactions, insights he is about to share. Please pay close attention as Tucker Carlson reveals what he's discovered about the forces shaping our world. Let's listen to what Tucker has to say.
The fact that anyone would even consider getting within 1,000 miles around with a nuclear exchange just shows you that the core impulse here is, that's what all of this is. And that's why I personally think it's spiritual. I think it's, the word demonic is suddenly being overused. It's everywhere because it's real. But yeah, if you see a human movement that's anti-human, the push toward nuclear war for its own sake is by definition anti-human, I would say. AI is anti-human by definition. Anti-human by definition. Transhumanism is anti-human. Do people act against their own long-term interests? Probably not, actually. So it's probably not human. Very simply, trying to reduce it to its most basic elements, and like any movement that's anti-human is probably not human, is it?
Probably not.
Do dogs act against their own collective interest? Do caribou? Do porcupines? Do single-cell amoeba? Do sea cucumbers? No, none of them do. No animal does that because it's not natural. Animals are part of nature. They do natural things. People are subject to the supernatural, so they do things that are not natural, like themselves. That's why we're the only species that does itself. So when you yourself, whether slowly or all at once, you're being acted on by forces outside of you, spiritual forces, obviously.
I think this makes so much sense, especially when you consider the anti-human trends we're seeing today. Remember when Cat Williams talked about similar issues? There are lots of testimonies from celebrities who speak openly about these phenomena, but it's as if we're asleep, unable to grasp the reality because the elites are doing their best to dismiss the supernatural. But as you'll soon find out, the powers that be are working hard to suppress any belief in the supernatural. I'm telling you, after hearing Tucker Carlson, you might just start to believe in the supernatural yourself. There are too many pieces of the puzzle that fit perfectly together. Numerous influential personalities have raised these concerns only to be silenced, ridiculed, and ultimately cancelled. Now, let's go back to Tucker.
Here's what I'm really surprised by, and I've actually stopped gathering string on, as we say in reporting, stopped gathering string in this, gathering information, because I'm satisfied that I know enough, and I don't really want to know that much more. Because what I think I know is, this doesn't help me at all to know that. So that's the conclusion I've reached. I'm usually pretty curious. I've stopped being curious about this because I don't want to know anymore. I think I know. I think I know what's up. So I can't prove it, so probably not going to articulate it, but I think I know what's up, yeah.
Now, things might get a bit weirder here, but I ask you to have a little patience and listen to Tucker all the way through. In just a few moments, he'll explain how he transformed from a skeptic to a believer. The influential figures he's met over the years have all confirmed the startling truths he's about to share. Just imagine, Tucker understands how outlandish this can sound to the average person, whose biggest concern might be their next Amazon purchase. Yet, he chooses to speak openly about these truths because they matter. We need more people like him who dare to tell it as it is. Let's listen to Tucker.
But one thing that you notice about every world religion I'm familiar with, I'm interested in that topic, there are commonalities between religions. But there are commonalities that are very striking between all world religions I'm aware of and all creation myths. And one of them, and this is of course true for Christianity, very true, is that the belief that supernatural beings take physical form. They all believe that, the Greek myths, but that they take physical form, that they're not just like some ethereal, they're not just shadows floating around, specters, fog, that they're physical, like they're as real as the arm of your chair, and that they reproduce with people, immaculate conception. Spirit reproduces with human woman. That's what the story is. And it's described in Genesis as well, in Genesis 6. Again, it's not just the religion of the ancient Hebrews or the religion of the modern Christians. It's Hinduism as well, and the animist religions, the religions of, to the extent we understand them or know about them, of the American Indians, all the same. So if every culture in the world that we know about, has left any kind of written or physical record, is reaching the same conclusions about something, maybe there's something there. And maybe it's not so crazy to think that what everyone else has always thought since the beginning of time, which that there is this combination in cases of, human beings and the spiritual realm, whatever that is. I can speak about it with no precision at all because I don't understand the specifics of it, but I know that it has been written about since people have been writing.
I told you this might get a bit weird, but let's really dive into it by examining Genesis 6. The sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Now, with the context Tucker has given us, this verse doesn't just seem like an ancient text. It resonates with real significance. It's intriguing to think that Tucker's understanding of these events comes not from mere speculation, but from conversations with powerful individuals who have had direct, first-hand experiences. Imagine the depth of knowledge held by secret societies and the kind of information that flows through the corridors of power in places like the Vatican. What might they know about the true nature of our world? Tucker tells us that his journey into these discussions has been eye-opening. He has spoken with insiders, learned from them, and was struck by the consistency and gravity of what they disclosed. Let's now turn our attention back to Tucker as he explains how he started these conversations, the types of people he engaged with, and the reactions he encountered. This is where things start to connect, shedding light on the darker, more obscured aspects of our history and reality.
I got really interested in it, and since that is my job, that's literally my job, is to call people and see them and have dinner with them and talk to them. And that's what I've done my whole life. So it's like that's just natural for me. It's not a hobby. It's my profession. I hate to use the word reporting because it's been so discredited by the liars. Oh, we've done a lot of reporting. Here at NBC, we've done a lot of reporting. Liar. You talk to some flack at CIA who told you a bunch of lies, which you're now repeating to me and my kids. So shut up. You haven't done any reporting. I hate to use the word reporting, but just like satisfying your curiosity by trying to identify who might know, talking to a bunch of people about it, assessing who's telling the truth. Maybe they're wrong anyway, but you can kind of feel whether someone's telling the truth. And there are ways to know, or to get closer to knowing whether someone's telling the truth. And just talk to a lot of people. And I've done that because I got really interested in it, sort of by accident. I never thought I'd be interested in this at all. And so I talked to a lot of people, and I was really shocked by what credible people told me. They could all be wrong. Of course, I can't prove it. But I became completely satisfied, I'll say that they were not lying and that they were right or in the vicinity of right. I always assume the details are wrong. I was a police reporter for a while, and you interview someone like a shooting, you've obviously seen shootings, but most people don't see shootings. So you think if you saw a shooting, you'd like remember every detail of the shooting. They get them all wrong. People aren't good at detail. Okay. That's just true. But they are good at themes. They're good at themes. Like they remember the guy's fat. He may have been 400 pounds. He may have been 280. He was fat. Like if everyone says the guy was fat, he was fat. I know I don't trust anybody actually. You know what I mean? Like it's not my job to trust people. So it's my job to assess whether what they're saying is right or not. So I talked to people who I thought had firsthand knowledge, and I talked to a number of them. And then I was like, whoa, I'm out. Because I don't need to go farther than that. I mean, I think that the real struggles are unseen. That is absolutely a part of Christian theology. I didn't fully appreciate it at all. It's a part of every theology. In fact, it is theology. That is theology. The belief that the real struggles are in the spiritual realm. That has been a constant belief since the beginning of history, recorded history. Everybody has thought that, except us in the West, since 1945. I can't say that enough. So once you get perspective on this question, you're like, okay, that may sound crazy to someone who thinks buying on Amazon is the meaning of life, but to every other person in the world, we may disagree about what the truth is. I'm sure we will, but we will never disagree with the fact that there's a lot going on that we cannot see or measure with our senses. That is absolutely true.
If this is true, and I'm inclined to believe it is, just imagine what it means for our understanding of reality. This could prompt us to reconsider everything we think we know. While it may not be exactly as we've imagined, there's likely some truth in these stories and testimonies. If evil exists, then so must good. And if good exists, choosing it could be our path to making things right. I believe it's that simple. I'll let you draw your own conclusions and decide for yourself what to make of this information. But let's consider this. We might never disagree on the fact that there's a lot happening around us that we cannot see or measure with our senses. This is absolutely true. Consider that humans can see only about 0.005% of the electromagnetic spectrum, known as visible light. Beyond this tiny sliver, there are extensive ranges of wavelengths, from radio waves to gamma rays, that are invisible to the naked eye but affect our world profoundly. Imagine the possibilities that lie in the parts of the spectrum we can't see or directly perceive. What might be happening just beyond our sensory reach? Let's dive back into Tucker's insights as he explores the unseen and unacknowledged forces shaping our existence.
What I find so striking about the UFOs, this is the main takeaway I have, is like, there's this debate like, is this stuff, these phenomena, which are clearly, obviously real? I mean, there's no debate about that. There's a lot that people can't explain in the sky and underwater. We know that. Fact. So the debate is this government technology? Is it from outer space, or is it some spiritual realm here? But what I find so interesting, we know the government's lied about it. They're lying about it now. That's a fact. There's no way around that. They've absolutely lied about it in very elaborate ways. I am really struck. Here's my current thinking on it. The main effort that the U.S. government has put into its disinformation, its lying on this topic, has been not to mislead you on the technology. Their main interest is in convincing you that the supernatural is not real. And if you watch, and there are people in the media who specialize in spreading these lies on behalf of the government. I'm not going to name anybody, but like, once you realize what the point of the exercise is, it's crazy. And I hope you'll assess all the fact-checking and the skepticism on UAPs through this lens. The main thing they want you to believe is that the supernatural is not real. Why is that important to you? Why do you care if I think the supernatural is real? Like, why is that? First of all, why is it, how dare you, as my government, try to get involved in my spiritual beliefs? That's totally not your area, so get out of there, okay, A. But B, why has that been so important for 80 years for you to convince me the supernatural is not real? Why? Why is that? And of course, I can't answer the question, but my gut level response is, well, because if it is real, whatever they're telling you is not real, and if they're punishing you for saying something you know for a fact it's not real, you're not allowed to say that. Oh, not because they don't have no problem with me lying, because they lie for a living. So lying brings no sanction. You can lie all you want. What you can't do is tell the truth. That is a fact. So once you know that, you can sort of reverse engineer their lies and know with some certainty that whatever they're telling you is not true is in fact true. That's exactly the truth. It's exactly the truth. But then you have to ask motive. Like, it's not a profit motive. Like, does it make them rich to deny that there's supernatural forces? No. What is that? And I don't know the answer. But the obvious answer is, well, because they sort of know they're working for supernatural forces, actually. And I think that's probably true. And the U.S. government is millions of people. I'm suggesting that. I'm not saying it because I can't prove it, but I'm suggesting it. And if you're asking whether I believe it, the answer is yes.
As we move deeper into our discussion, Tucker Carlson tackles the pervasive issue of disinformation, a topic that has seen a dramatic rise in our recent history. He delves into how modern narratives are often manipulated, citing examples where truth-tellers face harsh repercussions while deceit often goes unchecked. Take, for example, the recent controversies around whistleblowers in various sectors, from government to the corporate world. These individuals expose harmful truths, yet rather than being heralded for their courage, they frequently face severe consequences: loss of employment, legal battles, and public vilification. This pattern starkly contrasts with the relative impunity enjoyed by those spreading misinformation or operating under deceitful pretenses. Tucker highlights the psychological manipulation involved when society punishes those who speak the truth and rewards those who perpetuate falsehoods. It creates a disorienting reality. This tactic isn't just about controlling the narrative, it's about altering the very way we perceive truth and ethics. He points out that this isn't a new phenomenon. Historical examples abound, from the vilification of troublemakers who challenge the status quo in scientific and cultural realms to political figures ostracized for their unorthodox views. The psychological impact on the public's ability to discern truth is profound. When the truth is punished and lies are rewarded, it fosters a culture of skepticism and cynicism, where the real becomes unreal and vice versa. Let's return to Tucker as he explores the consequences of this reality shift, and how recognizing these patterns can empower us to navigate the complex web of modern misinformation.
But I believe that for two reasons. One, because I've told that directly by a couple of people who I think seem knowledgeable. And I attach some weight to that, though not conclusive weight. I don't know, right? I don't know. I wasn't there. Maybe they're super sophisticated liars. Maybe they're telling me the same lie for some reason. Maybe it's all part of a disinformation campaign. All the geniuses on the internet, the really smart kids seem to think it's, you're falling for the disinformation campaign. Okay. Thanks, son. When I hear a bunch of lying, I want to recognize that it's lying. It's untrue. I know that's untrue. Then I want to ask, what's the nature of the lie? What exactly are they trying to get me to believe or not believe? That's really important. What is it? What's so important to them that they're going to all this effort, spending all this money, getting all these journalists to repeat, knowingly or not, repeat their lies? Why? Why are they doing that? It takes time to do that. It's a big effort to lie. It's much harder to lie than tell the truth. So why bother? And then third question you have to ask is what is that? What does that mean? And then, of course, I don't know the answers, but it's very suggestive.
The truth of the matter is that the media can shape our reality. If they want us to believe something or dismiss it, they have the tools to make that happen. Sure, some of you might see through the deceptive agendas, but still, the vast majority of people could be swayed against those who dared to question the powers that be. So, in a way, they win regardless. That's why your contribution is crucial. If this video resonates with you, give it a like, maybe share it with someone you know, and definitely leave a comment to join the discussion. It's through these small actions that we can start to make a difference. Now, let's tune back in for Tucker's final thoughts, which I believe is the most important part of our discussion today.
And only the Bible readers are prepared to understand it. That's what because everything is the opposite of what you were told. So you were told that all the Bible readers were the most superstitious and inflexible and stupid and lacking wisdom and common sense, and they couldn't see reality, and I don't know, you just don't question what you were taught, really, kind of, And then it turns out that those are the only people who know what's going on. They're the best people. I've known that for a while. They are the best. Religious people are the best people. It's not even close. Who else hopes other people who else prays for their enemies? Anyone? Nope, just Christians, that's it. So anyway, I've known that for a while, that they were the best people. And of course, I'm married to one. So I knew that. But what I didn't know was that they're the only wise people. They're the only ones who know what's up. And that they're just way smarter than everybody. I didn't know that. I had no idea. And the last couple of years, I've been holy, they're the only people who know what's going on.